I think we're on to
The left.
left.
Listen, we are going to push this lady left. Just you wait.
Yeah. In defense of that title, they actually go on to explain, well, they don't really make the case that it's not true.
No.
So let me back off of that.
Yeah, they trot out all these people making excuses for it. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So let's start from the beginning. Ed Markey. I'm from Massachusetts. She's from California. On climate, on abortion, on racial LGBTQ issues, we are absolutely in agreement on her agenda. This is the guy who sponsored the Green New Deal.
More fracking
was mostly his thing, and then Medicare for All he co-sponsored, like a lot of people. But like, yeah, fracking. She's pro fracking here, and if you're Ed Markey, you know that literally undoes all the good work you try to get in other areas. That alone. So this is just ridiculous.
It is so ridiculous that, first of all, the Democratic Party would proudly be pro fracking in 2024 at like concurrent with climate scientists losing their minds. Like every day we're trying to get somebody on for an episode because we haven't covered it in such a long time, and it's like such a dire existential issue along with, global pandemics and genocide. But like we're so far beyond the thing that we said, that they said, that scientists said was like the limit.
And the reason is that you've got no party. I mean, none of the two parties are even pretending it's real anymore. You got the party that's supposed to represent us saying, I'm pro fracking now. So they're not.
I believe in climate change.
And the debate is if she's pro fracking enough. Do you believe she's pro fracking? Because we need to know you're pro fracking. Like that's where the
Obama bragged that he had more oil exports than George W. and Biden has had more oil permits and fracking permits than Trump.
And Biden bragged about it too at the State of the Union.
Yep.
He shut down those Republicans, and that was the news story. He was got in their face about we produced more oil than ever before.
So what difference does it make if you believe? It's like COVID. No, we believe COVID exists. Just get it. No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
This is more from Ed Markey. That's why Elizabeth Warren and I are so passionately campaigning for her and supporting her. But let's just keep going on to other people. The Senate's most liberal Democrats say they aren't worried about backing Harris or about Harris backing away from her previous support for Medicare for All or a fracking ban because they believe she will push hard to rein in insurance and pharmaceutical companies or to crack down on fossil fuel consumption. Let me get to the last one, and then I've got to say something about this. Asked her in an interview on NBC's Meet the Press whether Harris had abandoned her progressive ideals, Sanders said she is saying what she needs to say to beat Trump. No, I don't think she's abandoning her ideals. I think she's tried to be pragmatic in doing what she thinks is right in order to win the election. All of that is such a bag of shit to put on the American people.
Bag of shit.
We're supposed to vote for her because apparently to Sanders, she's just full of shit about being on the right. She's just saying it to win the election. And we just described that Biden said kind of the same thing to win his election. He was all a climate guy on the left to win his election. And then he's out there immediately bragging about how they produce more oil. We're supposed to believe Kamala Harris, picked in 2017 because of her blind allegiance to party bullshit, is going to just break ranks. She's the progressive she's just lying to get elected.
Also, that, and I hear so many liberals say this, like they always have to tack right in the general to get those voters. What voters? Like, you're fighting over the same people the Republicans are. You are leaving behind millions of voters. We know what the polls say. We know, and then they'll be like, well, those people don't show up to vote. Okay, like everything becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, we're going to make it harder for those people to vote. We're going to shut down their polling stations. We're going to, give them provisional ballots. And then that is like such propaganda. You do not need to tack right to win.
You don't. And you don't even need to, they're saying they need to win Pennsylvania, and you don't fracking. Pennsylvanians don't support fracking. They'd rather not have fracking. Pennsylvania citizens would rather not have fracking. So drop that argument, make the case to actually convince them a little bit to go left instead of now you're normalizing it. Now you're like, you're telling the world Pennsylvanians all support fracking. Like,
and they did the same. I mean, sorry, but like they did the same thing with COVID. Like it is such, I mean, if this were happening in North Korea, it's like the propaganda level where they would say masks are the scarlet letter, and then the polls would come out, and even in red states, they would say, we want a mask if it's dangerous, overwhelmingly popular, right? Then they just stopped polling people. So it's the same thing. Like, well, it's, Joe Manchin, Bernie won West Virginia in the primaries, right? And then they'll be like, well, that's the primary. It's different. And then this poll came out. I mean, it was many different ones saying that people in Pennsylvania don't want dirty energy or fracking or, coal.
They don't want to lose jobs. If you can guarantee jobs to replace those jobs that are clean energy,
and more people
all
are
be on board. All of them.
Clean energy jobs than by coal mining jobs there anyway. So it's all a fallacy. It's all dishonest.
There aren't even that many fracking jobs. So what you got with fracking is pollution for the people that live near it. So you got more people against it because of the damage and pollution.
Just for a good moment, we just want to thank Justin, YouTube member. I think you're already a member, but it just popped up. So thank you. RJ, thank you. Wow, that's good since 80. Good for you. Clear conscience.
Wow, I'm impressed by that. I voted for Obama. That was it. That was the end for me.
No, I have a guilty conscience because like an asshole I voted for Hillary in 2016 because I could not imagine Trump. And I know, horrible. I mean, that was my last one, but oh my God. Kimmy, thank you. You guys, thank you so much.
Cheers.
This is like cheers to you guys. Cora, thank you. Keeps me sane too. Thank you. It really is nice. I'm kind of always desperate for my community, and you guys are it. So thank you.
Vodka shots.
Bye. Daniel, thank you. Cheers to you guys. Daniel. Really amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. So back to the endorsement front. We're getting all these endorsements now. That's the latest thing, right?
Okay. Yeah. Let's see.
This one hurt. Yeah. I don't know. This wasn't actually an endorsement, but take it for what it is.
But she does this every time. She does this every time, which is dangerous because she's a radical, supposedly.
She's a radical. Abolish the police. And that's the biggest
liberation. And every time when it comes down to it, it's always voting lesser evil. I mean, Noam Chomsky does the same thing. Electing Harris will open space for more radical struggles. I mean, if that happens, that would be awesome. It would be completely ahistorical because that's never what happens. What always happens is the left goes back to sleep and is shut down. Why do you want to? Hey, he just got into office. You have to give him some time. Hey, it's the midterms. Yeah. You got, it's like always suppressing any vote. So all the people who say, we'll push her left once she's elected, if you try to do that when she's elected, they will come at you for tearing down. She's just got in. Give her a chance.
Yeah, exactly. Now's not the time. We've heard that every election cycle forever, because in a year, it'll be midterms. So don't bring Democrats down by criticizing her.
Yeah.
Do
you want to help Trump?
Uplift Democrats?
You got to help JD Vance,
right? So that's the routine. But I'm just really disgusted by all these people telling you, these progressives like Angela and like Bernie and Ed Markey and AOC. This idea that what they're telling us, they're much more left of that. You'll be able to push them left because they don't really believe what they're saying now. Like this insider tips kind of thing. Like, we know her. She's really progressive. She's just kind of lying to win the election. Like, there's no evidence of that whatsoever. There's not a drop of it. Not a drop. She lied to say she supported Medicare for all, and she didn't. Immediately went off on that. She said we should have all. all these checks for COVID and then became fucking vice president and didn't do anything to support people with COVID anymore. I mean, what you've seen from her is she'll say anything to get elected, but like then she goes right. She does not go left. She goes right because the pressure from the party and why they love her is to go right. And she's a blank slate that will go right. And this saying nothing thing that she does when she does interviews and her whole policy is so vague that their strategic goal is to get people to put on them what their own perception is. You want to see in her what you believe because her policy is so vague that it allows you to do that. So that's why it's super important for these progressive people to shut the fuck up about like, oh, we really think she's progressive behind the scenes. No, don't do that. Get it out in the public. Push her.
It's a lie, but it is so typical of liberals. I mean, you had Robert De Niro there, like, but the policy is actually what he's doing at the border. What Biden says he wants to do at the border is even worse than what Trump did. And then he's like, well, but I know in his heart, he's just feeling forced to do it. I mean, it's like, there is so much invested for liberal voters to feel better about themselves by showing up once every 4 years and casting a vote for the Democratic Party that they will justify anything. It is like Stockholm syndrome, cognitive dissonance on speed.
And immediately upon winning the election, Kamala Harris is going to be a Republican, right? She's going to be what we think of as a
She's being a Republican right now.
Yeah, right. But she's not going to go any more left. But she's going to use the fact that she won as a center-right person to stay center-right so that she can win in the next election. And the campaign season is going to start 2 years into her election. Yep. So she's not going to suddenly tack left and go, Medicare for all. You guys get Medicare for all. You get a car. You get an apartment. You get food. You get water. You get to live like a normal human being. You get COVID protections. We were just lying about all that. No, because if she says or does anything like that, she won't win the next time, and she won't have the party support either.
I mean, honestly, and I saw. Sorry, we just put this up. Kristen's comment. Not only will she not win, she might not live to see another day. Like, I mean, honestly, I do think that a lot of people live with that fear. I don't know what the truth of all of it is, but there's definitely evidence to show they're not going to let that person win.
Unaliving, burning kind of stuff. Yeah. I mean,
I don't know, but like, sorry, because I'm always scared that I'm going to get kicked off. And then if that happens, I sometimes am no longer able to see the super chat. So we just want to thank Lynn. Thank you so much. Super chat. Thank you, Willie Bragg Show. On duty November, I urge people to vote for Jill Stein or Cornel West. Here. We also have Claudia Dela Cruz. We have Joe Kishore. By the way, just quick announcement, Joe Kishore and Jerry White will be on the show on
the
Sunday.
SEP party.
SEP coming on Sunday for a little bit. Very excited to have
second
them.
Visit.
That's right.
I love everything the SEP represents, and like policy. Dropping everything else and just picking a candidate. I'm picking them all day.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there now. And I look, they're building something too. So
they're building something too. And they're at every single worker protest, every single strike, every single factory. Like they are 100% in solidarity with the working class. It is exciting to see, and because that is, I think we all think, truly our only hope for salvation. So very excited to have them back on. Okay, sorry, that was an interruption. Just to go back, let's go back. Who else do we have?
This one really hurt the soul. This hurt the soul so hard.
Come on. Also, it is vaguely racist. Like, I mean, the whole coconut thing. Like, there was a woman in the UK protesting, and she actually, I think, is Indian heritage, the woman who was protesting, and she was calling out leaders, like Richie Sunak and Suella Braverman and a few other horrifying leaders in the UK who are of her same background with something with the coconuts, making fun of them,
Right.
but whatever. And she was like, she is in heavy litigation right now. We were scared even with our one thing, even though we were just quoting the coconut pilled sort of, explosion on Twitter several weeks ago to put coconut pilled there because it felt like, could this be, because it kind of is vaguely racist, kind of weird. But anyway, but here it is. It's all justified in the name of getting your favorite capitalist in the highest office in the world.
I've had so much respect for those guys, but I guess you just have to, I don't know. There's different groups of people. There's people that are just, they want the left if you can get it, but we can't get it. So, they just don't know the best way forward, or they don't know. I don't know.
I think they're just so scared of Trump. Honestly,
I don't think they're corporate owned or captured by the Democratic Party, or most people who are like that are not, is my opinion. Like don't call them sellouts because they do this. It's just a bad strategy. I think it's like the Angela Davis. I'm not going to say Angela Davis is a corporate stooge for Democrats. She really thinks, I think, that this is the best way forward. I think they really.
I do. I think enough people. And again, this is the Clintons are the absolute bane of what. Not that the Democratic Party was ever amazing, but they have destroyed it. And they, whether it was in conjunction with the Koch brothers and the New Democrats or the Democratic Leadership Council that Clinton, the tack right to get those Romney Republicans, or Hillary and Bill promoting Trump. But that has been, Trump is the best thing that has happened to the Democratic Party. They don't even have to run on anything. They can actually run to the right of him on some issues. Not that I think, I don't think he's a peace candidate at all, but they keep going further to the right. The border bill, the, deportations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing to me is that we just don't, at least the value of the Democrats for people left of Democrats was that they would pretend to be left to get that out into the public sphere of the dialogue and discourse. There'd be this talk about the primaries and, a lot of people like Bernie, so you got to pretend left. But they figured out the perfect strategy to bypass that entirely and just say, hey, we're just a little bit left of that guy. So they're not even pretending. So that's why you can't just accept that she might be behind the scenes more left, because there's no evidence with all the pressure on someone as a president that she's going to somehow usurp her party and all the influence around her, especially with Kamala, who's the knocks on her are that she doesn't do her own work, that she lets the staff decide things. And that's why they picked her largely for policy. She's not going to come up with her own master plan for Medicare for all or something.
No. Oh my God. Anybody who really believes you're going to push her left after she gets in is, I'm sorry, you're a fucking moron. It's dangerous to be that ill-informed. I'm so tired of handing information and documents and receipts and news journals to people on a silver platter, doing all I sometimes will spend hours putting together something to one of my idiot Facebook friends. And then they're like, I don't know about all that. Okay, let's just agree to disagree. Nothing persuades them.
Or they're like, wow, I didn't know that. And then, you get to the election, Trump is a scary guy. He scared me. I'm voting Democrat every time. That's what I run into all the time.
It's just such a waste of my energy. They're time vampires, energy vampires. All right, let's see some of the other people. Well, okay, so because there was, do you want to
there's a good non-endorsement. Yeah. Should we go to the non-endorsement? I appreciated this one.
I did too. Yeah.
Teamsters president Sean O'Brien. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm so happy. I'm going to drink.
I'm using my voice and suppressing a white woman. That's going to get the police called on me.
That's right.
On why he wouldn't endorse in 2024. And this is historic. They haven't not endorsed in like 30 years.
Yeah.
And you're looking at the candidate. This is coming off of Biden, Mr. Union guy, to not get the endorsement for the VP is kind of wild. Neither candidate was able to make serious commitments to our union. There you go.
That is huge. And in the small print, yeah, I love that you're going to do the big writing, and now I have to put on my friggin' readers.
I got readers.
We sought commitments from both Trump and Harris not to interfere in critical union campaigns or core Teamster industries and to honor our members' right to strike, but we're unable to secure those pledges. Good for him. And, I will say, I know when we first saw that he was going to speak at the Republican convention, I was actually pleased about it because I felt like, unless he was like, "Yay, go Trump, Trump is awesome," you got to speak like you want Trump to fight for you also, and not be like, "Oh, just all the union people are just on the left, whatever." Sorry, I'm really big into this today. I don't know why. It's because I can't come up with words. This is doing a lot of work for me today.
Heavy lifting.
Yeah. And apart from saying like, "Go Trump, you're a strong dude," because he had just, had an assassination attempt on him.
I didn't like that part, but you can understand it. He's got to make an appeal to his audience to get on their side a little bit and then
But he said words that they probably hadn't heard before. I don't like that he shut down the strike before. Like, I did not like the way he handled that whole strike situation a year ago and allowing Biden basically to crush it. But this is, to me, this is great. Like, that's a big deal. And Sean Fain should follow in his footsteps, especially because a lot of rank and file people are furious and they do not want to support somebody who's supporting a genocide. So
you want unions to be beyond the parties.
Yeah.
They should be adversarial to anybody because they're negotiating for their employees, which is the working class. So you can't just say, "We support the working class party, the Democrats," and that mean anything, because then they're not going to support you. You got to be out there. And even if you do endorse, this is the lesson that Bernie taught everybody 10 years ago or whatever. Hold your endorsement. Don't endorse. Like, if you're going to do it on the last day. Make them earn it. Get the most leverage you can out of an endorsement.
I agree. That would have been pretty cool, though.
Oh, that would be.
That would have been cool.
That would be.
But I'll take. Look at me. I'll take a small step. Willie Bragg, thank you. Jeez Louise, you're speaking my mind about Bill and Hillary Clinton, the Democratic Leadership Council, Koch brothers that Reaganized the Democrats.
Oh. 100%. Reaganized the shit out of them. They're like bragging about all the Reagan. Didn't we pull Reagan staffers? This is not something to brag about. 17 former staffers endorsed Kamala and went so far as to say Ronald Reagan would have supported her.
Yeah, wow. He would have. Good for you. Listen, 15 years ago, Obama bragged that in the 80s, he would have been considered a Reagan Republican. It's a good thing.
Yeah. And you got Bill O'Reilly out there going, Obama's not bad. He's saying that now. This is the convergence of the worst people in the world with the Democrats now.
Yeah. It's not even a duopoly. We're just right back to the whole George Carlin. It's just one big party.
We need a shoeopoly where we all take our shoes off and throw them at every Republican, every politician we ever see gets a shoe.
You get the shoe. I don't know. We're getting late, but do we want to show the Mehdi Hassan stuff, the Hillary stuff, let's
get a little Mehdi in there, because I appreciate asking anyone any tough questions. That's great. It's just the framing of it all to attack Stein and not anybody else. Like, it's your only opportunity to go after somebody and you go after her. So
gross.
Let's show it.
Are you
I'm pushing the button apparently.
Every vote that's cast for Kamala Harris or for Donald Trump is an endorsement of genocide. It is an affirmation of genocide.
Lay out for me the steps whereby I go into a voting booth, vote green, and the genocide stops.
Let me put
I don't
it
see
very
that happening.
clearly. We are creating a very organized coalition that is here for the long haul.
That's right. They were Democrats that were sending cops to campuses to beat up kids on my campus, okay? Coming in riot gear to remove people from encampments.
Yeah. When people were dying en masse from COVID, when he was praising Nazis, doing domestic terrorism, as Butch says, did you ever at any point say, maybe I got that one wrong?
Oh, no.
You said in November 2015, as Assad and Putin were massacring Syrians in their tens of thousands, quote, the US should be working with Syria, Russia, and Iran to restore all of Syria to control by the government. That's the Assad government.
That was an unapproved statement, which was taken down the moment it was...
You seem to have a lot of things online that you don't approve. Would you tell your supporters at home, vote green everywhere, but in those 3 swing states, vote against a domestic terrorist?
I would say...
Which domestic terrorist?
I mean, it is really amazing. And then he pushes her later and is like, you called is Putin a war criminal? And she's like, yes, I said that his invasion of Ukraine was illegal. Is he a war criminal? She's like, he is the leader of Russia. How can I if I become president, how do I negotiate with him if I'm just lobbing names? Well, you called Netanyahu a war criminal. And as she starts to explain why that's different, because the whole country is a war criminal. Like that whole country is a war crime. It's a genocidal apartheid state. That is different from a leader of a country where there are, there are so many different parts of what the U.S. has contributed to threatening them with our buildup of NATO and, arms around their border. Like there are so many other things happening with the Ukraine-Russia situation. And Mehdi was just in his like, debate me, bro, kind of, I gotcha. And then, Owen Jones, who helped, kneecap Jeremy Corbyn in the UK, quote tweeted Mehdi's interview. Was like, This is a train wreck for Jill Stein. Everybody comes piling on her. They don't do any of this with Kamala or Joe Biden or any of the 400 and that was the other thing, the 538 people in Congress. Yeah.
Unfortunately, they don't get access to them, right?
Right.
Because I don't want to defend Mehdi, but the only thing I will say about him is he's hit and miss. He's good on some stuff, but he's one of those guys at the end of the day comes back to the party.
That makes it even more dangerous.
But yeah, I agree.
Like
I agree.
Davis, right?
But like on one level, look, it's good when you get these questions that are hard when you overcome them.
Right.
But on the other hand, Mehdi has the power to release 2-3 clips, and that's all people see, right? Yep. So they don't see her full answer. The full interviews behind a paywall. So what happens is what he puts out to be an attention-grabbing clip becomes the whole thing to everybody in the world. And he put this out there as a Jill Stein looks bad stuff.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, honestly, it's just the whole Bernie playbook.
And I mean, our next subject is COVID. So maybe we'll pivot a little bit with this. I'm a professional journalist.
Yeah.
But that part about what he did with COVID, like the answer is that doesn't scare me, because what did Biden do with COVID? He ended the little protection that was forced upon Trump by us, the public.
Yep.
He ended all of that.
100%.
And we'll get to COVID, but like that part I would be in his face about. And Mehdi was one of the few people who followed COVID and actually understand some of this stuff. But he still puts it out there like COVID's over now. Like, what are you doing, Mehdi? You have your own. He has his own network now. Like, he has
it because he spoke out. Like, you would think should embrace the fact that he was fired by MSNBC, but no. I don't want to leave 2024 though. Yeah, go ahead.
But I just want to say, is the new funding for his new network not as independent as we think? Because the natural inclination for us is to think, Well, that means he's going to go more naturally left because he's not tied to the establishment anymore. But what if it's $100 million of funding from pro-Israel
Peter Thiel.
sentiments,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
it isn't, but somebody
Yeah.
corporate? What if there's some strings,
Yeah.
So
the other people who like this guy is such a there's Waleed
Bernie
Sheehy.
guy.
Yeah, but he's also, he's what turned abandoned Biden into uncommitted, Jill Stein's Green Party is running a candidate against Rashida Tlaib in November. Well, like, they're a different party. They're not an arm of the Democratic Party. This isn't the same as primarying somebody in your own party, right? Like, that's not so outlandish. I love Rashida Tlaib, but of course the Green Party needs to run wherever they can run. Like, that's the whole point of being an oppositional party.
And who cares if they run someone against her and she loses? They're not running from the right, so you're getting a more progressive person anyway, and you're not going to beat her anyway. So this whole thing is just—it's
just a smear job.
It's a smear. It really is.
Here's one of the favorites. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Yeah.
No, let's bring up Liz because she's one of the biggest pieces of shit.
She is
campaign manager.
Wow, she's one of the absolute worst. Nevada Green Party is still fighting to get Jill Stein on the state's 2024 ballot. Yeah. Like, what? Like, she says that like that's a knock against the Green Party and not against the Democratic Party for fighting over every single signature and doing all this lawfare on them. Reportedly, they're being represented by Jay Sekulow, best known for his longtime role as one of Trump's personal attorneys. Yeah, of course, Well,
so the story behind that, and Jason, her campaign manager, explained it. They reached out. This stuff is so expensive to fight all these elections everywhere. So they were offered free legal counsel by I don't know, it's a group that represents, liberty. I don't know, whatever. It's like the ACLU kind of thing, but kind of like that. And one of their lawyers is a Republican guy. They're going to take anyone defending them. If the Republicans want them on the ballot, and they'll get them on the ballot. If you're them, seeing the animosity of both parties and the Democrats specifically, why would you not take free legal counsel when it costs you $10 million that you could be putting into ads?
And meanwhile, this is a party that spent tens of millions of dollars boosting MAGA Republicans in primaries, which
against progressives.
Against progressives.
Yeah.
Which all it did was like normalize the worst fascists in the world.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, exactly. Then if you don't run down ballot candidates, they say, well, all they do is pop up every 4 years and run for president. And yes, also, sorry, the Liz Smith specialty getting powerful men off. No, wait, that's Anita Dunn. I mean, yes, I think Liz Smith did some of that, but I think that's a more of a Anita Dunn thing, but I have to look it up. You might be totally right, Saul. Sure. Definitely. But remember, Liz Smith was the one who posted from her sorry. Whoo, lots of shots and wine. Her alt account where she's like a Black Nigerian man. Do you remember that?
God, yeah.
Oh my God. Mess.
She's a sleazeball.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Is there any other 2024 thing? I mean, there is, but what? Do you want to do any of this? Just moving on.
I mean, we're pro-terrorism. Democrats are pro-terrorism. They're backing the bombing of, like, they took out some bad people, so it's okay to just.
This is my congressman, by the way.
Oh, is he LA's rep? Yeah.
Yeah, but even
Democrat.
Like he's my specific, county. Yeah.
Nice.
I did reply. I mostly got a lot of, support, and then they're all the morons who.
Yeah.
But that's, that is disgusting because we know that civilians died. It was not strategic. Anybody can have a pager. It was happening in fruit markets and open air places. Children were killed, blinded. Yeah. And sorry, but like when you start targeting ambassadors, you're destroying any chance of peace anywhere. Like, we are all now having to wonder what we're saying that's going to make us count as terrorists in the eyes of the people who have the power to blow up our iPhones. I mean,
and we're all going to end up like hanging onto our phone like, no, my phone's 5 years old, so I'm not going to upgrade it because it's not going to blow up on me.
I just was thinking that because I just got a thing for an upgrade and I sent in for it yesterday, and now
Where's
I'm
it from?
Ooh.
Where's it from? Who made it? Who packaged it?
I mean,
I did want to go, since we were talking about endorsements, this
Yeah.
one was a shocker, and this is the opposite. Like, you got to give it to Sean Fain and the Teamsters for breaking with tradition and not endorsing Biden.
Sean.
And meanwhile,
wait, not
Sean
Sean
Fain,
Fain.
sorry.
Um,
Meanwhile, the opposite, the
Sean O'Brien.
Scientific American endorsed Kamala. And they haven't done that. They don't endorse. And meanwhile,
I think they've done it one other time ever, and I don't even know who it was for. Yeah.
This is a publication constantly pointing out climate change, bomb stuff, COVID stuff.
They're
and they're endorsing
now.
And they're
pro-fracking.
Fracking, you know, I mean,
that's the belief science. I mean, honestly, Biden did more. The Biden regime has done more to kill the idea of believing science or public health than Trump ever could have hoped for. We should just take a really quick look, because in spite of all, okay, wait, two things. One is, this is kind of crazy. Latest New York Times Siena poll has Harris trailing Trump among working class non-college voters by 17 points.
Yeah.
Which is the same deficit that Biden had right before he dropped out. But in 2020, his deficit with these voters was 4 points. So, I mean, there is a realignment on some level, but not
there's a lot
switch.
of there's a lot of blissful delusion still on the left that this thing is, like, people on the left think this is over. They're like, the dog and cats thing sunk Trump.
Yeah.
And maybe you're right. But there's a long time to go, and the odds pickers are still leaning Trump. This is Nate Silver. Yeah. He's given Trump almost 60% chance of winning.
Right.
So, you know, it's a coin flip, but like, sleeping on this like it's over just because Trump is running a bad campaign.
Like a horrible campaign. If he wakes up for a second, it won't even be close. This is the swing states right now. It's pretty much even in the swing states. But remember, she's not even at Hillary Clinton's numbers. You know, the one thing that some people who are more optimistic on her point out is that her favorables are higher than Hillary's were. But
yeah, look, she has so much in common with Hillary as far as,
oh my gosh, yeah,
being unpopular when questioned, because that's when all the stuff comes out that makes people not like you, because they see her being wishy-washy, they see some of her real opinions, they see your natural disdain for certain groups of people come out. And the longer this is really a toss-up or leaning Trump, the more we're going to see some more of her. And she's had 2 interviews now on her own, and they've gone poorly. I don't see her winning people back, because you can't undo when you think someone's a piece of shit or doesn't like your group, or so I just don't know. I mean, I think there's a lot of room for Trump to move up, and she could move up too, but Trump has a lot more room to improve his numbers, where she has a little room to work around the margins.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just going back and reading some of the comments. And yes, the Scientific American endorsement is 100% about regulatory capture, just as everything that happened with COVID is happening with climate, is happening with genocide. It's just all sort of the same thing. You know, I actually think Trump's approval rating, or, you know, vote share polling, whatever, I think he's probably topped out where he's going to top out, but I think she also has. And I think everybody knows what a disgusting asshole Trump is. And they either are fine with it or they're never going to vote for him. There are people who are just getting to know Kamala now. And there was the whole Joy campaign. It was all manufactured. It was all like this fun party at the DNC convention with Oprah and all the billionaires and whatever.
Right.
And if they can continue to hide her, it might work. But as when people get to know her, they hate her.
Exactly. And that's my point. And so the reason all that joy had peaked before the convention, right? She had her convention. She got no bump from her convention. None. Didn't change the numbers at all. So what you've got with Trump is a potential to appeal to the people on the left a little bit. And that's what he's doing. And that's why policy independents are more concerned with policy than tone, because tone from Trump, it doesn't matter. It's baked in. Right. It's already, we know who he is.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter, but they don't know Kamala, like you said. So it's policy from Kamala, and Kamala is running on a blank slate policy. And the policy we get is the stuff on the right. And frankly, the people in the middle aren't really appealed by policy on the right. They want social programs. They buy into some stuff about taxes and things like that, but they want something that materially affects their lives. And they're not getting that from Kamala at all. And Trump could lie and say he's going to do some stuff, and that might be enough.
Yeah. And the truth is, as gross as he is, and the tax cut for the rich were kind of all he did, although we haven't, canceled those, and the capital gains tax that Biden wanted to implement, that he said, whatever, but she won't even promise that level. She's already come down from it, even now, like negotiating herself out of anything that might be good for people. But, gas prices were lower. Inflation was lower. Groceries were lower under Trump. So, if people are just looking at, was I better under Trump?
Yeah. We'll post the Democratic nomination hoopla.
Yeah.
Trump got a bump. Well, no, I'm sorry. The debate that was so terrible for Trump, he got a bump from people who thought the economy. They thought after that debate, he was better on the economy, which is the number one issue people are voting on, is the economy. Yeah. And so that terrible debate gave him a bump on the biggest issue people are voting on.
Crushed it.
Just saying.